Hey everybody, you are listening to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Congratulations for getting in early. And first comment of the day goes to Malik over on YouTube. Man, Malik is always so quick on the draw. Congratulations, buddy. Well, thanks for being here. We got a bunch of great stories for you today. I think that's all I'm going to say. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. We did get an update. If you want to become a producer of the show and you haven't been able to because of canarycryradio.com/support being down, you now can go to canarycrynewstalk.com/support. canarycrynewstalk.com/support. You can become a producer there, and we'll be keeping an eye out during the show. Producership's pretty low today, so you have a good chance of making it to the top of the list. Okay, let's get going.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is December 4th, 2020. This is episode 272, and today, the faith awakens. Da-na-na-na-na. And I am your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we love Jesus, we love you, learning to love ourselves, and we're praying for our enemies, which is who are becoming more bold in their opposition to the truth.
Such confidence.
You can't handle the truth.
Well, here we are. This is our, second post-Thanksgiving show, or third for you, second for me. Happy to be here. Let's see here. I don't have anything really new to report, I don't think. What about you?
Well, I think we're going on lockdown again because we're purple area, whatever. And Los Angeles lockdown, and I think they're going to lock down Orange County again, and fires, more fires. It was really windy.
Fires.
Yeah, it was windy a couple days ago, and so more fires, more burning because of the lack of forestry control around here.
Yes, well, you can't cut down any trees in California. That would insult Mother Gaia.
Gosh. Yeah. Or just controlled fires so that we don't have crazy house burning down type of fires would be nice.
Yeah,
like they used to do for tens of hundreds of years, maybe not hundreds, but
the Native Americans used to do controlled burns, or so I've heard.
Well, there you go.
Never been there, never done it myself, but that's what I'm told. Oh man, what was I just gonna say? I had something. Well, anyways, stay safe over there, all Californians, and you shouldn't have a hard time staying safe because you're going to be locked in your home forever.
I say civil disobedience.
For me, at this point, I just stay in my home because I like it.
Yeah,
nobody's keeping me here forcefully, but who knows? Once people start telling me what to do, then I start just acting out for fun. I will say, just a quick reminder for everybody watching on YouTube or wherever you are, give us a quick quick thumbs up for a little
smash that like button.
Top secret tip. If you get a bunch of likes, like your like to viewer ratio in the first, few minutes of your video, the algorithms like that very much, shares it with people. So that helps us out a ton. But I guess we can just get into it. Is there any brief election updates you want to get into?
Yeah, the suitcase. That's all I'll say.
Suitcase.
The suitcase.
I did see the suitcase.
Yeah, I see that. I have election fraud fatigue.
Yeah,
as I'm sure a lot of people do. So I know it's a temporary thing. I'm kind of at the point where it's like, all right, okay, let's get on with it. Other things going on.
The one thing that bugs me about a lot of election fraud stuff, I won't say a lot of it, but the suitcase. You're talking about the video breakdown that was floating around, where it showed a counting zone that they closed down, said we're going to stop counting. When everybody left, some ladies brought out suitcases full of ballots from under a table or something. Yeah, started scanning them. Yeah. The one thing that bugs me a little bit about those, and that's just because I'm such a stickler for critical thinking and evidence, is there's the only context you get for the video is whatever the commentator is telling you. Like, there's not a lot going on in the video that, objectively tells you what's going on. Sure. It just bugs me a little bit. I don't know. Not to say I don't think it's evidence. It's just like, I don't know, you could take a video of a lot of things, and then you have the right commentator saying the right things. You can make it look like anything.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I will say that if the commentary is even remotely true, then people can't say there isn't evidence of at least some weird, strange things going on. Yeah. Of course, I think there's been election fraud for a while, but this time it's just there was such buildup to the election fraud idea from both sides leading up to these elections that I think whoever lost was going to be all in on the election fraud. Yeah. Whoever perceived to lose, or whoever perceived to lose. So
was going to claim that there was election fraud.
Yes, because the mainstream media for like the last 2 years were like, "Oh, those machines, they connect to the internet. We don't know what's happening. What kind of database? Blah blah blah." And then all of a sudden, because their guy is in, they're like, "Cleanest election ever."
Yeah.
And so,
well, the fun thing to keep in mind is like, of course, there's certainly a lot of interesting videos and other evidence regarding election fraud in this election. But if you've been paying attention, pretty much every election has some amount of election fraud. And of course, when you realize that presidents are selected, not elected, there's a lot to say about every election being a complete farce, but we don't need to get too deep into that.
Yeah. So there it is. I didn't want to spend too much time on that, which is why I'm in our show notes, our notes between you and I, Basil, under election brief, it says suitcase.
Suitcase.
That's all it has. No link, nothing else, just suitcase.
Yeah, I'm tired too. I don't know. Again, when something super big comes out, we'll certainly talk about it.
We will talk about some implications as to what a Biden presidency will mean for Christians in this episode. So we'll get there.
And it connects with my rant from last episode too.
Sure.
But we'll get into that. Okay, but at first, I think we should head over to the Flippy Update.
Flippy Update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. All right. We're going to pop off the show here with Flippy Update. For those who are new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name we have for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a proxy conversation to explore just how robotics and artificial intelligence are taking over the world, including our very lives and our livelihoods, Gons. Over the years, I've made some pretty good predictions on career paths that the younger viewers or older, if you're looking to change your career, but especially those trying to figure out the career path of the future. Basically, just become a blockchain coder or a podcaster. Either one of those. I would recommend the coder though. But today is kind of I'm talking to you kids. Anyways, this is coming from scientificamerican.com, and the title is "This Robot Can Rap." Really? That's right, Guns. What if your digital assistant could battle rap? Oh, you can see this was written by an older, more mature person, because it's called Rap Battle, not Battle Rap. Although battle rap sounds like a Christmas contest my grandmother would enter at the mall or something. What if your digital assistant could battle rap? That may sound far-fetched, but Gil Weinberg, a music technologist at the Georgia Institute of Technology, has adapted a musical robot called Shimon to compose lyrics and perform in real time. That means it can engage in rap conversations with humans and maybe even help them compose their own lyrics. Shimon, which was intentionally designed to sound machine-like, is meant to be one-of-a-kind musical collaborator of an inhuman rap battle opponent. And then the article just kind of goes into the history of computer music, but we have a little sample for everybody here. Gons on the ones and twos, hit it.
Well, before I hit it, let me just set it up.
Jesus.
What you're going to hear,
I set you up perfectly.
I know you did, but you got to give a little context.
Okay.
What you're going to hear is a human rapping at this robot arm with a head face thing, and then you will hear the obvious robot responding to the rap. So here's Shimon.
But it can't be one, cause I got the vocabulary off the top and I often rock, closing up shop.
Hey, with your false vision, social indigestion, ask attention. The solution is passing by. We are the servants of the world for the world's showing aim. Cause you're trying to make a claim. I want to be a human.
There you go. I want to be. We're making the claim that they want to be human.
Yeah. And what I love about this rapping robot is it really is a flippy. It is an arm.
Yes.
It is a robotic arm with a little cute little robot head with a mouth on it. So it is an official flippy update. I got to say, they said it was intentionally sounded robotic. They nailed it.
Yeah.
They nailed it. It sounds intentionally robotic for sure. But there you go, kids. Watch out, because if you're thinking rapper was going to be your career path, we got this little guy, Shimon. He's coming at you. What I love in this video is the rapper who is battle rapping against the robot. Just seems tickled pink to be in this situation. He's really making sure everybody knows that he's enjoying his time there, battle rapping with this robot.
He's going to tell his kids, I was the first one to battle rap with the robots.
Yes, he knows he's going down in history. A couple interesting things, though. This might seem a little less than enthusiasm inspiring, I guess, less than inspiring of a rapping robot. The interesting thing about this is it is compiling these verses in real time.
Right.
So these are not pre-programmed. These are not, this is happening in real-time AI processing, which is pretty impressive, compared to other talking robots where most of it's all pre-programmed and it's just set to respond to certain commands. So that's pretty cool, but just pretty much just that. That's all. I couldn't even really understand half of what it was saying, but they are trying very hard.
Yeah. Well, at least they didn't go for the humanoid thing, just because one of the problems we've seen recently is like we're trying to make it as human as possible.
Right.
It never turns out well. So at least they stuck with the robot thing. Or that could just be an excuse of like, we couldn't make it sound human. So we'll just tell them that we made it, we tried to make it sound robotic.
Yeah. It's kind of the similar thing with the uncanny valley. If you try to make it too human looking, it just kind of looks creepy. And I think the same is with voices, because Sophia, the robot, they try to make her as lifelike as possible, which just makes her creepier and creepier. But the voice is part of that.
Yeah.
They try to make it a very realistic human sounding voice. I think purposefully making this guy's voice robotic is the right way to go. I don't want to be tricked into thinking that it's a human rapping when it's really a toaster. So there you go. Just watch, kids, man. It's okay to rap in your spare time, but the robots are coming for that whole industry, so watch out.
Well, maybe in the future, wars will be fought with battle rap. Instead of physical war, you've got to battle rap the robot. So work on your chops, kids.
Yeah.
Drop those lines.
There you go. Well, what do you got for updates?
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
We always start off with a 33 update, or a couple of them anyway. 33 is the Illuminati dog whistle. And this, according to People.com, see how Windsor Castle is decorated for Queen Elizabeth's first Christmas there in 33 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
why?
I don't know. But Queen Elizabeth is spending the holiday in Windsor, and her palace is already filled with festive decorations, including a giant Christmas tree.
Okay,
so,
well,
yeah.
I'm glad they included that. Your favorite pagan holiday would not be complete without a giant burning effigy.
I'm getting mixed information about the pagan holiday thing. It certainly was pagan.
Yes.
But there was some of the early church fathers and anyway, we don't have to get into it now, but there is some stuff out there that I noticed and read that.
Although that conversation will be had,
as
is tradition, this month.
We will.
In the next few weeks, we certainly will get into the Christmas debate.
Yeah, we will. We'll definitely talk about it because it's really easy to just say it's all pagan. There does seem to be some tradition rooted in some early church type of stuff. But I move on to the other 33 update. This is Heavy.com. Juno star Ellen Page comes out as transgender. My name is Elliot. And we heard, I'm sure everyone saw this story a couple days ago. But what wasn't really mentioned, and this was, who was it? Somebody on Twitter pointed this out to us.
I was just trying to look for it.
Yeah, so we'll give him the credit for pointing this out. But it says here, Ellen Page, best known for their work in the film Juno. Best known for their work? That's really interesting.
It's they.
Ellen Page, best known for their work. Because
I believe part of this is because they posted their pronouns, and it's they. It's he, they. I'm not an expert in exactly what that means, but did not go with he, him, is going with he, they.
All right.
Which I guess I didn't know was an option. It's an option, though.
Okay. Well, split personalities, satanic ritual abuse, it's all a possibility. But the big thing that people weren't talking about, the 33-year-old.
Yes. At 33
years old,
they made the transition.
Yeah.
I will take this opportunity to bring up my my ever increasing, my ever growing campaign to get chronopronouns normalized. So I'm Basil, am, and will be.
Fantastic.
Gons, what are your chronopronouns?
I will have to think about it.
Okay. See, that's not very woke of you.
No, but it's
you
okay.
You should know this.
All right. What about Gon's eternal?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
Eternal. That's going to be the name of the documentary I make about you when you inevitably get, forcefully sucked into the singularity, the AI singularity.
Yes, and I will communicate where I'm at from the other side, but it won't really be me. You see, it'll be a false algorithm.
Yeah.
False prophet.
God's eternal.
Yeah.
So, okay, what's next?
Just letting you know, it's not me. It's not me in there. Okay. Another number that keeps popping up that I've been keeping my eye on, obviously for reasons that are pretty obvious, is the number 666. And we have a little jingle here that I put together, and we'll see if it gets by the algorithms, but here it is. That is Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast.
Gons, how could you play the devil's favorite song on our show?
Well, it's just a jingle to lead us into the 666 update here. AlbanianDailyNews.com, the most authoritative Albanian source in English.
Oh, that's good to know.
Did you know that?
I will say, at the moment that we are reading this 666 story, there is 333 live viewers on one of our platforms.
Oh, wow. I think that's total, actually. Low number today. Yeah,
well, we're only a couple
total.
minutes in.
Yeah. The headline is 666 Albanian anti-maskers fined. So 666 people have been fined in the last 24 hours for non-compliance with restrictive measures, such as wearing a mask in public places and not moving after 22 hours or 22.
The mask of the beast.
Yep.
We finally found. Well, that was one of the reasons why, we sort of debunked the mask as the mark of the beast, was because, there has to be 666 associated with the mark in some way. But there you go. 666 people have been fined in Albania for not wearing a mask. I will say, I've heard a lot of great things about Albania.
Yeah, that's maybe why they're going after him.
I know.
666 and the mask and the whole deal. Just keep it in mind there. Something weird. Something weird. So we'll keep an eye out for other 666s in the headlines, because it seems to be popping up a little bit more than it used to. I don't know if that's been recently, a thing. Yeah. It's just triggering people. All right, next up real quick here.
Space. Wanna go to space?
Whether you believe that it's just lights on the firmament or not, PopSugar.com reported Jupiter and Saturn will align to create the first Christmas star in nearly 800 years. And what's going to happen here is, I love how they call it a Christmas miracle. It hasn't happened in 800 years, and it's going to happen on the winter solstice, December 21st.
Ooh.
Jupiter and Saturn will align so closely in the night sky that they'll almost appear to collide from our vantage point.
Interesting.
Yeah, creating a radiant point of light often referred to as the Star of Bethlehem or the Christmas star.
Okay.
Pretty crazy.
Well, interestingly enough, on December 21st, after the adjusted calendar for the Mayan calendar, that's when the world's supposed to end. So
yeah, I was reading some stuff. People sent us the note too that the guy who said that was joking, but he had to delete his thing because people took it too seriously. So
that's interesting, because I got it from it was a PhD candidate.
Maybe he was joking.
It was something weird. It was a woman, and she was a PhD candidate in, I can't remember, history or something like that. Seemed relevant at the time. And she just went into the whole thing. That's where I heard about it. So I don't know whether it is correct or not. Maybe this PhD student is going to some online university.
Yeah, maybe she had some stuff that she wanted to happen in 2012, and it didn't happen. So she's just banking on this time around. This time it'll go down.
I think people are I feel like a lot of people are it's more wishful thinking this year than it was in 2012.
Yeah, but
it's like, oh please, let it be over.
What I want to know is who calls this conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn the Star of Bethlehem?
Nobody calls it that.
This article says it does. Which this article has had 2.3 million shares, by the way. So a lot of people excited about the Star of Bethlehem this year, which could be a sign to usher in the Antichrist. I mean, just throwing that out there.
That's not a bad point.
Yeah. The counterfeit signs and wonders, Yes.
All
right. More updates here. Something good, kind of.
Tell me something good. It's been a while since we've heard that jingle.
I know. I'm trying to include good things.
Perhaps almost an entire year.
Yeah, I'm trying to include, and this is not a good per se. I'll twist it around. Okay. msmagazine.com. The good bots, one cyborg that's killing the trolls with kindness. And this article is in the context of, women are really on Twitter and social media. They really get, the trolls really go after the women. And so they put together this bot called the paritybot. Mm-hmm. And it was to counteract online abuse by sending human-written positive tweets Using a machine learning model to automatically evaluate a tweet's sentiment, paritybot scores tweets for toxicity and responds by sending a positive tweet if a certain threshold of negativity is breached. Positive tweets are contributed by humans and vetted by the Arito Labs team and offer supportive, encouraging messages for women candidates. So, this is a super pro-women story.
Yeah, just women?
Yeah, but I was going to say, not a bad idea to just have more of this, just in all contexts, not just for women.
Just in general, try to...
Just in general.
Yeah, it reminds me, again, I guess we're reminded a lot of this, but Ghostbusters 2, where there's the river of evil beneath the city.
Yes.
It's kind of how the internet is. It doesn't matter where you go. There's always some sort of river of negativity flowing beneath it. But yeah, maybe just the robots got to bring the positivity, man.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to use robots and AI and machine learning, might as well give them a positive spin and make them to the people, just, I don't know about the negativity score and all that, but at least they're pushing positive messages on Twitter, which will be flagged by the trolls as
it'll be fact checked.
It'll be fact checked and flagged.
Fact check all these positive posts, all these bots.
Yeah, these horrible vots and bots, and Knox and socks.
Nitro FZ1 in the Twitch chat just said Gons is a flippy lover.
Oh yeah,
flippy lover is the funniest insult. Everybody needs to start calling people flippy lovers.
Yeah, wife's not happy about that. No context.
Yeah.
All right, one more quick update here.
A pandemic special.
And this one, I love this. This was tweeted out by Rex Chapman, but this went viral this morning. Things escalated quickly on CNBC this morning. This is fantastic. Do you want to check this out? This is Rick Santelli with, I don't know the other guy's name, but he's like a young anchor on CNBC, and they got into it.
Can't tell me that shutting down, which is the easiest answer, is necessarily the only answer.
Rick, I just as a public health and public service announcement for the audience, the difference between a big box retailer.
Who is this?
Hold on. The difference between it's Andrew. The difference between a big box retailer. Hold on. The difference between a big box retailer and a restaurant, or frankly even a church, are so different. It's unbelievable. Going into a big box retailer,
I disagree.
You're wearing
you can have your thoughts and I can have mine.
You're required to wear a mask.
I disagree.
It's science. I'm sorry. It's science. If you're wearing a mask,
science.
it's a different story.
500 people at a Lowe's aren't any safer than 150 people in a restaurant that holds 600. I don't believe it. Sorry. Don't believe it. And I live in an area where there's a lot of restaurants that have fought back and they don't have any problems. And they're open.
Okay. You don't have to believe it. But let me just say this. You're doing a disservice to the viewer because the viewers need to understand it.
You are doing a disservice to the viewer. You are. You are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would like to keep our viewers as healthy as humanly possible. The idea of packing people into restaurants.
I think our viewers are smart enough to make part of those decisions on their own.
Completely different
things. I don't think that I'm much smarter than all the viewers like some people do.
Yeah, this one's CNBC.
CNBC, and both of these guys are employed by CNBC. Maybe Rick Santelli not so much longer.
You know what? My suspicion is that this is sort of controlled opposition. And I mean, I love for those who are watching live, it's very funny to watch. On the right, the yelling man is an older guy, and he gets kind of red-faced, and yes, he's very passionate about this. I like his attitude. And the other guy, the guy on the left, is kind of a younger, kind of just normal-looking guy, but if he's much over 30, not much.
Yeah.
And obviously much less experience handling these types of things on air. So the thing that got me here and makes me kind of think maybe this is a controlled opposition type of situation is, you got the older guy screaming about masks, and you got the younger, calmer, sort of frustrated millennial who's saying his literal words, "You're required to wear a mask. It's science." It is scientifically true that we are required to wear a mask. That we can agree. But yeah, this is fun. I like this guy.
So you think this is a psyop to perpetuate the division of ageism? And
I think, yeah. Well, what I think is this is CNBC, which very few sort of hardcore conservative people would even consider tuning into, I think.
Yeah.
But I think putting this guy on here to really, and you're watching this guy when he is, when the younger guy is talking, what's his name? Rick Santorum?
No, the older guy is Rick Santelli. I don't know the younger guy's name.
Well, that's what I was saying. So when the younger guy is talking, the Rick guy is just making these faces. He's folding his arms. He's making like these pouty faces.
He's pointing.
That he's just pointing. He's very animated. I think this was created to give maybe conservatives or older people someone to relate to on this channel to keep them tuned in.
To keep them tuned in. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it went viral, so it worked.
I think that's what it is.
We got some good ISOs from this, though.
I disagree.
That's a good one to make sure. Anytime we disagree with something, we can throw that in. And this one, it's good, but the younger guy steps all over it.
If you're wearing a mask, it's a different.
I do. Yeah. You're required to wear a mask. It's science. That's not science.
All right, so that's it for the updates. 16 minutes and 18 seconds for the updates, Basil.
Okay. Yeah. You did a good job keeping it short today. You win.
I win.
Okay, well, time to go into our second update segment here. But this is, we got a little series of things about the vaccine. Okay, so we're going to start out over at CNN.com here, see what they have to say about what's going on with the vaccine. The headline is vaccination cards will be issued to everyone getting COVID-19 vaccine, health officials say. The Department of Defense released the first images of a COVID-19 vaccination record card and vaccination kits on Wednesday. Good to know. So now we know how to Photoshop our own.
I know. They have a little picture here.
They gave it away.
Yeah.
Get to work, Photoshop kids. Vaccination cards will be used as the, quote, simplest way to keep track of the COVID-19 shots, said Dr. Kelly Moore, Associate Director of the Immunization Action Coalition, which is supporting frontline workers who will administer COVID-19 vaccinations. A Department of Health and Human Services employee holds a COVID-19 vaccine record card. I just read the caption to that image. Quote, everyone will be issued a written card that they can put in their wallet that will tell them what they had and when their next dose is due, Moore said. Let's do the simple, easy thing first. Everyone's going to get that. Just before we go on, I think this is interesting. Out of all the talk, all the hype and the talk and the money and the companies and the investments, to make your COVID-19 tracking apps, and you're going to have your blockchain certified vaccination record and everything. They're finally just like, no, let's just give everybody a piece of paper. They can just carry it around in their wallet. Let's make it simple. Vaccination clinics will also be reporting to their state immunization registries what vaccine was given so that, for example, an entity could run a query if it didn't know where a patient got a first dose. Moore said many places are planning to ask patients to voluntarily provide a cell phone number so they can get a text message telling them when and where the next dose is scheduled to be administered. Every dose administered will be reported to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, said Claire Hanan, Executive Director of the Association of Immunization Managers. The CDC did not immediately respond to CNN's inquiry about whether such a database would include a record of everyone immunized. And there is the concern. And, of course, the CDC did not immediately respond to that. As far as vaccine kits, the DoD image shows the kits include a card, a needle, and a syringe, alcohol wipes, and a mask. Operation Warp Speed has 100 million vaccine kits ready to go if and when distribution of a coronavirus vaccine starts. General Gustave Perna, Warp Speed's chief operating officer, said last month. The images come as two companies, Pfizer and Moderna, await emergency use authorization in the United States. A panel with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration is expected to discuss whether to authorize the EUAs on December 10 and 17th. Wow, that's coming quick. No, okay. For a second, I was thinking that we were in Vax Week for the UK, but that's next week. Reminder, UK listeners, next week is Vax Week. Your vaccinations start. And make sure to send in your boots on the ground reports. Let us know how that's being received. Moving on. Should Pfizer and Moderna get the authorization, the vaccine's first shipments could happen December 15th and 22nd, respectively, according to a document from the federal government's Operation Warp Speed. Initial supplies in the United States will be limited, and the wider population won't have access to vaccines until months into 2021. A CDC panel recommended Tuesday that healthcare and long-term care workers get inoculated first. By February, 100 million Americans could be vaccinated against the coronavirus. Monsef Slaoui, chief advisor to Operation Warp Speed, said Wednesday. That's it. There you go. So we're all going to get a little card, Gons, after all the hubbub.
I know.
About chips and implantations.
Well,
get ready. Don't laminate it though. You're not allowed.
Most people born in the United States, anyway, in the last 30, 40, 50 years have gotten, maybe not 50, well, maybe about 50, have gotten some kind of vaccine as children. And we have our immunization cards. And I don't know the protocol of how it works currently. Do the hospitals just keep a duplicate record of that, or?
I have no idea. As I've mentioned in the past, I've recently had to get certain vaccinations to travel to like Africa and stuff.
Yeah.
They gave me a little card. It's a little yellow card. I lost it. I have no idea where it is.
So you must get it again, Basil.
Yeah.
And this time.
I remember, you got to show it to the guy as you're going into certain African countries. I just thought it was such a silly system. Like, if you know what they look like, you can just photo. They didn't like check any numbers. They didn't do anything. They just look at it and you just keep walking.
But yeah, what they don't tell you about is the watermark that's on the blockchain.
Oh, the blockchain isotopic watermark.
Yeah, on the paper. That's how they're going to get us.
We'll see.
Well, keeping up with the vaccine updates, there's a few things to bring up, other stories and headlines. This one is concerning, well, a couple of these are concerning PSYOPs, if you ask me, and I don't have my PSYOP jingle. I thought I had it ready to go.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. I need to get a better database to pull up some of these jingles here.
I would warn PSYOPs.
And this headline is from CNBC, where the arguments took place with those two guys earlier. Headline, would you be willing to get a COVID vaccine in exchange for a $1,500 stimulus check?
Oh, yeah, I saw
How
this.
one bold proposal would work. I'll just read the bullet points here. Americans are eager for more one-time stimulus checks. While the U.S. government is working to get COVID-19 vaccinations to the American people, now one proposal from former Congressman John Delaney aims to help both sides by providing stimulus checks in exchange for getting vaccinated. The goal, to reach a 75% vaccination rate faster, which could save both lives and the U.S. economy. Hey, you can do both.
Woo-hoo,
save the economy and you. Oh, boy. I don't know. This is if there was any argument for this idea of vaccines and mark of the beast, I mean, we always caution against concluding with that. But, I mean, this moves kind of in that direction. There's an economic interest with getting the vaccine.
The assumptions they're making here is hilarious. because, if you're going to get the vaccine, you're going to get the vaccine for those who are not against it. But if you're against the vaccine, look, I know times are tough, but I think people who are really, authentically against getting the vaccine, I don't think $1,500 is going to convince them. I think there's somebody in leadership who is really overestimating people's desire for $1,500.
Yeah, but also if you look at it from the Hegelian dialectic narrative, it makes kind of sense. It's like, all right, release the virus, destroy the economy. And then, because this type of thing, what's crazy is that, a few months ago, people were like, oh, they're not going to do anything like this. Because I heard this narrative of like, hey, yeah, get a stimulus check in exchange for a vaccine. And they're like, no, you crazy conspiracy theorist.
Right.
And now it's kind of like, that's kind of a good idea. Let's try that.
I know. Well, that's exactly correct. When this all first happened, people were calling that. I think we talked about it.
Yeah, we mentioned it.
And yeah, that's exactly what they went for. And the sad and sort of the twisted thing about this is this kind of goes into the socioeconomic disadvantages of of the vaccine, which is they're not 100% sure if it's safe and it'll take you out of work. They specifically say, like, plan not to go to work for 3 days when you get the vaccine because you're going to be so sick from the side effects. And the people who would get the vaccine for $1,500 are going to be the people who really need $1,500. And unfortunately, again, when it comes to these vaccines, they love testing it on poor people. Yeah. They love testing it on, third world countries and minorities in America and things like that, all in the name of equity or whatever. But really, testing an unsafe vaccine on poor people is pretty much the sickest thing you could think to do. And, luring them in with $1,500, again, has really sinister undertones that I think there's just a lot of they're tone deaf to.
They're tone deaf, but they know certain people because of the economic situation that everybody's in right now. They know people are going to comply. And so it's a good carrot on a stick to dangle in front of people. And it's not the only thing. Let me take this next one. You can take the last one. Sure. If the $1,500 is not enough to convince you, maybe this will convince you.
State-sponsored propaganda machinery.
CNN.com, former presidents Obama, Bush, and Clinton volunteered to get coronavirus vaccine publicly to prove it's safe.
Yeah. What is, oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Real quick before we get into this, Old Tabox made a good point. Poor people don't sue. So if the vaccine goes wrong, the poor people who got the $1,500 are not going to they don't have the $1,500 is not going to pay for the lawyers to get your compensation from the vaccine court.
Maybe Elon can launch an anti-vax campaign lawsuit, and he'll pay for the lawyers, and everybody can jump on board.
Yeah, what are you going to do, Elon? What have you done for me lately?
Which, by the way, I think people saw the Starlink satellites the last couple days. People were seeing it in the sky. And
I saw you tweeted that.
Yeah, there were people saying that they saw it, and I was trying to get some pictures if anybody caught it. There was one picture that was shared, and it's kind of a blurry thing. It's just crazy. I think we're going to have a bunch of starry things happening in the sky in the next decade here. But
was it or was it not in the shape of Elon's face?
Not yet, but it's coming.
Oh, okay,
it's coming.
All right.
But this story
back to ex-presidents.
This story here. CNN, former presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton are volunteering to get their COVID-19 vaccines on camera to promote public confidence in the vaccine safety once the U.S. Food and Drug Administration authorizes one. The three most recent former presidents hope in an awareness campaign to promote confidence in its safety and effectiveness would be a powerful message as American public health officials try to convince the public to take the vaccine.
So powerful.
This is having I don't know. I think this is going to have the opposite effect. Obviously, it's going to be like a lot of people saying, how do we even know that it's not just a placebo, number one?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to point that out. You can have retractable needle, fake injections. You can have just saline. Like they're going to take it live on TV, but you're not going to see the president's live stream for 3 days as they suffer from the side effects.
Or, yeah, one or the other. I'm really hoping.
I want to see all three of them cash their $1,500 check.
Oh,
that's what I want to see.
That's a good point. I for some reason, my brain, when I saw this story and I saw people sharing it around, I don't know why. I must have been very tired. I haven't been getting much sleep recently because of the baby. And, you know, me and my wife, we take shifts. And so I take the night shift into, 3, 4 a.m. So it's been a rough few days here. But I saw this story, and all I can think of was, here, it's going to happen. They're going to vaccinate like Obama, and Obama's going to be like, see, look at that. Nothing happened. And then he's going to like morph into a reptilian.
Just lizard eyes will come out.
And the world will finally know. And then David Icke's going to come out and say, I told you. And that was the other thing. Somebody mentioned on Twitter on my feed when I shared this story. They should get like a skeptic, like a true skeptic out there, like a David Icke or whoever. I mean, maybe not David Icke, but like somebody or Alex Jones. Get Alex Jones to actually give the vaccine. If you want to really convince the crowd of people that well, although can you imagine Alex Jones and these guys in the same room? It would be,
oh my gosh,
primetime TV.
What would happen?
Oh, Alex would start yelling.
Celebrity death match. It'd turn into a wrestling match. That'd be hilarious.
I might even pay to watch that. I would pay to watch that happen.
Pay-per-view. You would pay-per-view. Would it just be Alex Jones? I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's a pretty stout guy.
Well, he's stout. Yeah, he would hurt these guys.
Bush, Obama, and Clinton. I mean, Clinton is so.
No, Clinton, he'd be like,
he's fine. Nothing can happen there. Yeah. Bush, he's okay, but he doesn't really know what he's doing in the ring. I would be a little worried about Obama. I think he's kind of scrappy. I've seen him
Obama
throw some three-pointers.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. I can take him out, but
he's a little bit more athletic.
Yeah. Okay, so. There you go. I mean,
yeah, not buying it. Nobody's buying it.
Nobody is buying it, and this is going to be a spectacle. I can't wait to watch this.
It's such an insulting assumption as well. Lots of insulting assumptions. I think that's the lesson so far with this whole vaccine update. It's very insulting to the American people, where it's like, oh yes, who do we trust? The presidents. Bush. Oh, I trust that guy. I'm totally down with everything he did. Oh, Obama, trustworthy guy. Bill Clinton, oh, sure. Whatever he says is true. It depends what is. I totally get it. The assumption that we would feel better about something because, three of some of the most dishonest Americans, presidents, well, they're all dishonest, but I don't know. It's just silly. It's almost like it kind of seems like a throwback, to a bygone era where Americans would see the president do something and also want to do it. I don't think that happens very often.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Who's the guy or the gal who's going to be like, look, it's not a partisan issue. Obama, Bush, and Clinton got together and took the wax. That's going to be the argument.
Right.
It's safe and it's nonpartisan.
This unity sort of facade.
Sure. But anyway, there it is. There's one more quick piece here from our vaccine update, and it's a bait and switch.
Real quick, Peachy in YouTube says, why are they treating us like we're kids? Like they're going to eat vegetables on camera for us next. It made me think of, you when you got a kid, you're trying to get them to eat their food. You turn the fork into an airplane. Sure. Here comes the choo-choo. Open up for the choo-choo. They're going to start doing that with the vaccine syringes.
Yeah.
Here comes the spaceship. He's going to land on your arm.
Fantastic. Excellent.
All right, bait and switch time.
Bait and switch.
I'm going to come from the Wall Street Journal. And here was a fun little surprise. A real change of tone from literally 2 days ago. The article is titled "Supply Chain Obstacles Led to Last Month's Cut to Pfizer's COVID-19 Vaccine Rollout Target." When Pfizer Inc. said last month, it's funny they're saying this last month thing because the articles that we were reading last episode, this was 2 days ago, they were still saying they were going to, have all these vaccines ready. So this last month thing is a little shady. When Pfizer Inc. said last month it expected to ship half of the COVID-19 vaccines it had originally planned for this year, the decision highlighted the challenges drug makers face in rapidly building supply chains to meet the high demand. Quote, "Scaling up the raw material supply chain took longer than expected," a company spokeswoman said. Quote, "And it's important to highlight that the outcome of the clinical trial was somewhat later than the initial projection. Pfizer still expects to roll out more than 1 billion doses in 2021 as originally planned. Pfizer and Germany-based partner BioNTech SE had hoped to roll out 100 million vaccines worldwide by the end of this year, a plan that was reduced to 50 million on November 9th. The UK on Wednesday granted emergency use authorization for the vaccine, becoming the first Western country to start administering doses. The 2-shot vaccine also is being reviewed by the Food and Drug Administration in the U.S., where a similar authorization could come later this month and a rollout before the end of the year. The U.S. regulator also is considering a vaccine developed by Cambridge, Massachusetts-based Moderna, and that's the one that had a lot of troubles during the trial, that could begin shipping before Christmas. Oh, we could have our vaccines in before Christmas, Gons. The doses are among an array of vaccines that have been developed this year as the coronavirus pandemic has raged across much of the world. Authorities estimate nearly blah, blah, blah. And then they give us all the numbers that we already know. But so there you go. I mean, this is interesting. They're sort of backdating these numbers, what am I trying to say? Dosage manufacturing numbers. Yeah.
Well, I think that this is once we know that this is all fluky, and it's interesting when the Wall Street Journal has to get out there and cover some of this information. That how wonky it is. It's not like some fringe blog pointing these things out. It's the Wall Street Journal. So people aren't going to read this article. Hey, Obama got it. Hey, look at me. I'm fine.
Well, what's interesting? Well, I totally forgot what it was. I had something highlighted and it's totally gone. Nothing's interesting.
This is Pfizer. All boring. That was Pfizer taking over your thing there.
They sent me the flashing signal in my VR headset here to stop talking about it. The fun part about it is that these guys have already been paid. They got paid billions of dollars earlier this year. They're really they're not under a ton of pressure. They've already been paid. It's kind of like, we'll ship them when we get them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And just as a quick side note, and we've talked about the PCR tests, but there was a paper that was that came out that was a challenge by 22 international scientists against the main scientific article that created the RT-PCR test as the main way to test for the COVID-19.
Right.
And they basically use the paper as like, okay, yeah, deploy it, test everyone with this methodology.
Right.
At the end of last month.
We know, as you've brought up before, you had a good segment on it. PCR is not technically a test. It's an amplification process.
Right. It's a process. And so a bunch of scientists came out and called out the flaws in that paper and how it should, none of the ways, at least the PCR test, or not the test, but the process, the PCR process should not have been deployed to the amount that they have to determine if somebody is suffering or has contracted the virus. And so, it's just headlines and information that you're not going to get. Maybe not headlines, I'm sorry, more like information that you're not going to get in headlines in the mainstream media because it goes against the narrative. But yeah, this is the one problem here in just looking at the discussion with this topic, is that there is no hard consensus amongst even the scientific community of what this is, the severity of it, how to treat it. So anybody that's out there that says, like Fauci out there saying
science is truth,
it's nonsense, because again, there's no consensus. Scientists can't even agree what to do here. And the political use of some of the ways in which this is played out are being called out by other scientists.
Right.
So yeah, just
well,
some
that's
more
the funny
ammo.
thing. We're up to like 100,000 doctors and scientists worldwide who are, they're not all saying that like COVID's a hoax or something, but they're coming against different aspects of the official mainstream narrative.
Right.
And, that number just keeps growing. And according to the mainstream, it's a growing number of faulty fake doctors who, are being paid by the conservative right to lie to the people. It's like, okay, come on.
Yeah. So,
you're so against conspiracy theories, but not when they're your conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Those are all of the vaccine updates.
Fun.
Setting up for Vaccine Week next week in UK.
Yeah.
I don't know, the UK area. Let us know, UK friends, how that goes. If you have to
Week.
put up your shield and close your doors. I don't know how it's going to work.
And scan us a couple vaccine licenses if you get them.
Oh yeah, perfect. There you go. Although it'll have weird English on there, spelled different and stuff.
Ye old vaccine certification. Sorry,
okay.
British listeners. I'm just making fun.
We love our British listeners. Okay, let's move on here to a couple of main stories. This one is regarding what would go down if and when, I would say if, Biden takes hold of the presidency.
It's got to be biblical.
The race wars.
The race war.
I've warned you and warned you and warned you.
And this story is from WND.com. So it's a very right-leaning outlet, WorldNet Daily, so keep that in mind, and we'll talk about it. Headline, Secular Democrats urge Biden to pounce on U.S. Christianity. Sweeping agenda calls In God We Trust a relic of McCarthyism.
Mm-hmm.
The article states a Democratic Political Action Committee representing secular values issued a sweeping agenda for Joe Biden to reverse many of President Trump's advances for religious liberty and, quote, restore a vision of constitutional secularism.
I love that.
Yeah.
Repeal religious liberty.
The Secular Democrats of America, PAC, and Reps Jamie Raskin, Democrat in Maryland, I think, and Jared Huffman, Democrat in California, members of the Congressional Free Thought Caucus, were behind the 28-page document, which was issued Monday. It would ban religious organizations from participating in government programs, support governors who want to close down churches amid the COVID pandemic, require new disclosures from churches, overturn religious rights precedents such as the Hobby Lobby case, prevent mention of creationism in education, and work for a de-radicalization of, quote, white Christian nationalism.
Right.
The document declares the, quote, rise of white Christian nationalism is a national security threat. It goes on. It recommends to Biden.
Security threat.
Yeah,
wow.
That's. I've noticed that is the dog whistle for both sides. Republicans and Democrats. They'll throw out the. This is a national security threat to whatever thing they don't like from the other side. It recommends to Biden that he, quote, encourages the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice to dedicate resources to de-radicalization programs aimed at hate groups, including, but not limited to, white nationalists, increase monitoring of such groups, including the online environment, and take action to address increased hate crimes toward minority faith communities, and shift rhetoric to label violent white nationalist extremists as terrorists.
Jeez, that's what I'm saying, man. This goes back to my rant from last episode.
Yeah.
You know, talking about giving Trump the power to do some military tribunals, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, you might want it now, but if it doesn't work, or even if it does work, he can only be president for 4 more years. And in 2024, when a Democrat inevitably gets in, just because that's how the pendulum swings, you know, you never have 2 of any one party in charge for more than 8 years. Then that person, whoever it is, that Democrat would have the power to do, or have the precedent rather, to start military tribunals and martial law specifically for America's biggest national security threat, white Christians. And you won't even have habeas corpus. It'll be all military tribunals for you, church folk.
The PAC wants to
and
rid
me, I'll be at the top of the list. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's no proof that you're white.
They don't know who I am. Well, they can't get Basil, but they can get me.
The PAC wants to rid the nation entirely of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which was adopted in 1992 to protect religious expressions and has been integral in several religious liberty victories in court. The document insists government funding should be non-sectarian, calling for restoring secularism to the nation and protecting non-theists. It targets dozens of presidential executive orders for elimination, including those that promote free speech, provide for equal participation by faith organizations, encourage the strengthening of black colleges, allow employers to be exempt from Obamacare's abortion funding mandate based on their faith, protect healthcare providers from being forced to violate their faith, and protect the faith of federal program participants. The plan calls America's motto, quote, "In God We Trust," a, quote, relic of McCarthyism and the anti-atheist hysteria of the 1950s, and says reference to, quote, Judeo-Christian values should be condemned, which is that's pretty crazy. Like
that is crazy. Well, especially since Judeo-Christian values, they can hardly be called Judeo-Christian values in America because they're just kind of values. I mean, you take the 10 Commandments, pretty much everybody's going to agree with the 10 Commandments, even if you don't want to call them 10 Commandments. I think most people can agree. Yeah. Don't steal, don't kill people, don't, do, well, there's 10 of them. You know the thing.
The thing.
But what's the word they use? Not abolish. What did they use?
They want to, let's see.
What's the sentence you just read?
The plan calls America's motto, "In God We Trust," a relic of McCarthyism and the anti-atheist hysteria of the 1950s. Oh, condemned. Yeah.
Condemned Judeo-Christian values. That is just madness.
By the way, the hypocrisy here is that for these folks to even put together the Secular Democrats of America paper, they are basically standing on those Judeo-Christian values that are sort of inherent in our country to propose this.
Yeah.
So this is a Ouroboros, snake eating his own tail type of thing.
Yeah, this is hardcore. I got to say, I never thought that it would get this hardcore.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people knew.
Yeah, well, a lot of people talk about it. It's a fun thing to talk about. It's a lot of, it's the type of alarmism that gets people to download your podcast, which we are not very good at. But I mean, that's to have it officially come out as now, to be clear, this is some organization recommending this to Biden.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got politicians that are behind
it's not his current official standing, but this is what his people are recommending to him.
No, and I think part of the Hegelian dialectic, the right-left paradigm, all that, if you look at the history of the evangelicalism in America, how it arose, it literally was labeled by Truman, I think in the 50s, as a psychological operation. to combat communism. And so it's almost like a long time setup for this. Like, let's get the whole movement going. And then in one fell swoop, let's label them, terrorists and wipe them all out with this thing. It is
so hardcore. It kind of has the stench of PSYOP on it.
Yeah.
Condemning Judeo-Christian values is such a radical statement, even for a secular, society, is a pretty crazy statement to make. It kind of has a PSYOP waft to it.
Yeah, well, it's very atheist in its approach too. And it insists politicians should not be allowed to say God and country. You're not allowed to say it. Okay.
You know what? I was waiting for the right time to bring this up, but this has happened before in the world, of course. China had a very extreme secularization movement. But it also happened in Turkey not that long ago. And it was interesting that you brought this story here, or that it popped up, because I just listened to a program that really talked about the Turkish secularization. And they went so far, of course, there's a lot of Muslims in Turkey. They went so far to secularize that women who wore headscarves couldn't work for the government. You couldn't be a nurse. Like you couldn't get a job in Turkey when if you were wearing a headscarf, because it was a sort of a sign that you had non-secular ideas. And for the time, that doesn't mean a whole lot to us here, because wearing headscarves is not really, a big cultural thing. But at the time in Turkey, it almost started a civil war. It was wild. Yeah. And that's kind of the same thing that they're talking about here, Yeah,
the methods don't change here. There's nothing new under the sun. For the sake of time, I think people get the point. There's just, it keeps going here.
Sure.
And
we can move on.
The one thing that I will mention at the very end of this article, it says that according to 538 analysis of data from the 2016 Cooperative Congressional Election Study, 9% of Democratic primary voters said they were atheist. 8% said they were agnostic, and 18% identified as nothing in particular. However, about half of those in the last group said they still attend worship occasionally. So we're talking about a very small group of even the Democratic Party that are, almost like militant atheists, I guess. Yeah. Which is really ironic, because all this is secularism with this type of tone is religious. This is like a religious thing. They won't ever admit that.
Yeah, totally.
But it is their own religion, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because Biden is, or at least claims to be, a practicing Catholic.
Right. Yeah. He's a better Christian than all of us.
He's such a good Christian that he will make Christianity illegal, just like in the days of Rome.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
We need to return. Maybe that's his plan. Maybe he's just such a good Christian that he wants to make Christianity illegal because, historically the Christian church has flourished in times of persecution. So he's like, if we make it illegal, then the church will do better.
What if after all of this, Biden is the Antichrist?
That would be kind of disappointing, to be honest.
Like, oh man. He's like,
it'd be the most disappointing Antichrist. Sorry, Biden.
You're not even good enough to be the Antichrist, Biden.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Okay. Along with this story, this story connects this next one that I'll throw to you, because it's almost like confirming some of what these secular Democrats are trying to do.
Sinful generation!
You're right, Q.
Yeah, you're going to love this. This is coming from Vice.com, so it's going to be edgy. But this is regarding monolith, the monoliths. There was a third one that popped up in California. And then this happened. Mysterious monolith update. Racists destroy California monolith. Proclaim Christ superior to space aliens.
Aliens?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh no, the new California monolith was torn down overnight by a group of right-wing young men who live streamed their vandalism in a grainy video posted on the blockchain streaming site DLive.
Shout out DLive listeners. Hey, we got 4 in right now.
Do we have anybody on DLive today?
We got 4.
Okay, I haven't seen them chat.
Oh no, did Basil freeze? Oh no. Are you okay, Basil? I think Basil froze. Give me one moment here. Let me get him back. Let's reconnect. Oh boy. Are you back?
Yeah, they didn't like me talking about the monolith.
Apparently, because you're a white nationalist.
I'm white. I'm a racist. Calls Jesus better than aliens. Okay, I'll just start over here. The new California monolith was torn down overnight by a group of right-wing young men who live streamed their vandalism in a grainy video posted on the blockchain streaming site DLive. In the video, a group of 3 men are seen pushing the statue over and chanting "America First" and "Christ is King." The men, one of whom was wearing a "Make America Great Again" headband, called part of the monolith's construction gay. I've got to see this video. Then replaced it monolith. Replaced it monolith. That's a typo.
Come on, Vice. Get it together.
Come on, Vice. Then replaced it monolith with a wooden cross. It is a decidedly bleak turn in the ongoing monolith saga that has generally been a delightful distraction for a world racked by a pandemic. Okay. Quote, "Christ is king in this country. We don't want illegal aliens from Mexico or outer space," a man in the video says. So let's tear this feed down.
Aliens.
I don't think this is real.
You think these are guys that are trying to paint the whole narrative?
Think so. I think this has got to be some saboteurs.
These are young guys too, so it would be very easy to be like, "Hey, we'll give you $1,500 to go over there, tear down the monolith, put a cross up, talk about how you love Jesus and America, put on a MAGA hat, the whole deal."
Right. Not even a MAGA hat, a MAGA headband.
Oh, headband. Yeah. There you go. It's even more like militant,
This is staged, man. This is not real. Anyways, as the group of 3 struggle to topple the 200-pound statue, now they're calling it a statue, they can be heard chanting as they sway it back and forth. Eventually, the monolith's base breaks and it falls to the ground. The group then places a wooden cross near the side of the monolith. They go on to pose and take pictures with the 2 pieces of plywood, all stepping with one boot on the monolith as if it's a hunting trophy. Of course, got to draw that conclusion. After the photo shoot, they tie ropes around the monolith and drag it down the mountain, calling it names and cheering. See, this is even more okay. So just breaking it down, of course, they're making the allusion to hunting, which, of course, because they're right-wing racists, they got to be hunting. And then this tying ropes around the monolith and dragging it, calling it names and cheering is a direct allusion to, some of those horrible instances where this would happen to. There was that gay guy that got jumped, and this happened to him. And reportedly has happened to black people in the South, and that's the whole thing. So again, it just stinks of being scripted, making every connection you can to these racists. But let's keep going. Quote, "It was a learning experience. Nobody got arrested. It was fine because it was funny," a man says on the stream after the monolith was taken down. Why would he be saying that after, anyways, on the same video? The California monolith was discovered Wednesday morning atop Pine Mountain in Atascadero by a group of hikers. It is the 3rd silver monolith to be found in the past weeks. The first in we know where the rest are. In a video posted to a DLive account run by someone with the username Culture War Criminal. The group of men claims to have been driven for over 5 hours to get to the statue's site, streaming most of the time. The man who appears in the later video is wearing military fatigues and camo face paint. He's vaping while saying things like, quote, I will... Oh, I don't want to read that. It's mean things. The group goes on to sing Battle Hymn of the Republic and other military-centric songs, all while greeting his viewers with vulgar racist commentary. 2 other members in the back of the car have combat helmets on with night vision goggles attached. I gotta see this, man. I like how they just start referencing other videos on other channels.
Yeah. And
just to throw in some racism.
Yeah, and you look at this picture, and well, I think they're talking about these guys live streaming while they're driving to the thing, right? That's what they were talking about.
That's what they say, yeah.
And you see the one gentleman here in the picture on the right wearing a camo, I don't know, shirt,
fatigues, yeah.
But when you read it, it sounds like, oh, he's trying to be all militant. It literally looks like something he got at Old Navy.
Yeah, it does look like a Gap version of
it's
camo.
It's not
I'm
like
no camo expert, but it's got like weird buckles and stuff that I don't. Again, haven't spent much time in fatigues, but it looks more like a fashion statement than a usable camouflage outfit. But let's see.
Read the last paragraph.
Last paragraph. I'll jump down. I'd be happy to jump down. Here we go. Previous videos posted to Culture War Criminals DLive account show the men talking on Omegle about the pedophile rape tunnels under Hillary Clinton's house, claiming to be a member of the Marines and commending spitting on black people. His Twitter further perpetuates his racist narrative and indicates his affinity towards far-right podcast host Nick Fuentes. Is that what you wanted me to say?
Yeah, this guy peddles pedophile rape tunnels under Hillary Clinton's house.
Oh, well, there you go. That's a good example. That's how this is fake.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a psyop from all accounts because, again, it's with the problem with the mainstream media's portrayal of Pizzagate, where they say, oh, crazy Pizzagate, where Hillary Clinton owns a pizza restaurant that traffics children. That was never part of it. That was only portrayed in the mainstream media and, other ridiculous sources. Not going to get into explaining Pizzagate, but saying that Hillary Clinton owns a pizza restaurant that traffics children and has secret tunnels under her house is the type of thing that is put out to discredit conspiracy theories or theorists or, the people of that ilk. So in my opinion, this is an obvious plant, obvious psyop to put more negative attention on conservative values. The dangerous Judeo-Christian values that must be condemned.
Yeah. And if the listeners and the producers noticed, we read a story from WMD, or WND, sorry, World Net Daily, and one from Vice, and they both had to do with the same topic. So you can kind of see the contrast of reporting some of these issues and how the right-left paradigm operates.
Yeah.
And will continue to operate. But I think we should take a break, and we got some big rants planned for afterwards, and we got to hurry because we have another thing happening tonight, which I haven't even mentioned to anybody out there yet.
I know. We forgot to mention it, so we'll mention it right now during the break.
It's break time!
Come on, take a break. Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick break and thank some of our producers, but don't go anywhere because after the break, we're going to be talking about the RFID chip and the vaccine that we talked about that appeared on CBN last week, as well as quite the discussion about evangelicalism, conspiracy theories, the mainstream, and even within evangelicalism or Christianity in general, the two different sides of that group. And yeah, a lot about that. Really important conversation in my opinion. But first, let us take a break and thank some supporters. So,
producers, not supporters.
Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you. That's what froze my brain for a second. So producers, you might say. Maybe you're new to the show, and you're thinking, producers? Somebody produces this? That's crazy. You're right. It is crazy. But you might notice that we don't read any ads on the show. We don't take any corporate money or advertising revenue, and we're also demonetized on all the platforms. So how are we able to keep the lights on around here? Well, that is because of the value for value model. And if you don't know, let me tell you. The value for value model is really the future of independent media and, I believe, media in general, as people discover that advertising is way too wrapped up in big data, privacy concerns, as well as narrative crafting. It insists that pieces of media like our show are brand safe. It kind of ties your hands, or a cat's got your tongue when it comes to talking about certain things that brands just don't want to be associated with. And it's for that reason why we have decided to try our best to stay integrous as far as being told what we can and can't say, and just taking money from people who want us to consider you, dear listener, as a commodity to be bundled up, collected, and shipped off. Your attention and your trust to be sold for our own personal gain just didn't seem like it was the right thing to do for us. And I've said it before, but if you're new, I'll just say it again. We have in the past gotten some pretty I don't know, what would you say, attractive propositions from certain advertisers, and we have not accepted a single one against our accountants' best wishes.
Accountants being us. And yeah, those offers were, if anybody else, we might have said, we made it. We made it. We got the attention of the big dogs, but
yes, right.
We were like, nah.
It just didn't seem right. This was way back when, it's a little different now, where it's actually pretty easy to get advertisers on your podcast now. Advertising on podcasting is a pretty easy thing to do nowadays. But you get paid a lot less than you used to. But before that, back when it was kind of a prime market, we had a couple offers that were kind of hurt to turn down. Yeah. But that's neither here nor there, because we are here now on the value for value model. And here's the thing, without rambling too much, when you rely on advertising to fund pieces of media that you appreciate, you're literally letting advertising companies and the corporations that pay them dictate the value of a piece of media that you enjoy. And this has worked for a while during, certain phases of the internet and, mainstream television type stuff. But it's quickly becoming problematic for a lot of different reasons, and even just philosophically. The idea of letting some ambiguous advertising corporation set the value on a piece of media that you enjoy, people are waking up to the fact that that's a pretty messed up concept. And instead, they are taking their media future into their own hands and becoming a producer of Canary Cry News Talk. And let's thank some of them now. Actually, it's going to be a pretty short producer segment. Let me pop over here. One of the first ways, one of the easiest ways that you can become a producer of Canary Cry News Talk is by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. Patreon.com/CCNT, which I regret to inform you, Gons, we have no new patrons over there, no new producers. So that makes that part pretty quick. Now, we've been having a problem with canarycryradio.com/support. It's kind of a big problem. It's gone. It doesn't exist right now. We are currently trying to figure out how to get it back up. But we have to come to the conclusion that the fact that our support page has disappeared is part of the reason why producership is low recently, Gons. But we did figure out that you can go to canarycrynewstalk.com/support, and we've put up a page there where you can become a producer. We're putting the link into the chat right now. That's canarycrynewstalk.com/support. We don't have a cool jingle for that URL. So if you would like to become a producer of the show, again, head over to canarycrynewstalk.com/support. And Gons, do we have any producers that have come in on the PayPal?
Yes, I think as of now, I haven't double checked since the top of the show, but we had one producer come in, and that is producer Carter O.
Carter O. And Carter O., thank you very much for that producership. Not only are you the only producer for this show, so you are the executive producer by default, but your producership was very generous, and we appreciate that very, very much. Starting to get a little stressful, Gons. Starting to get a little stressful with this low producership for the past month or so. So now is the time if you want to become a producer of the show. Yeah, I mean, just to be serious for a moment, we say it every show that we can't do the show without the help of our producers. And we do say it sort of flippantly, and we just kind of keep moving. But it is actually the truth. Like we mentioned, we don't advertise for what we think are pretty good reasons, but that does require people to become producers of the show. And it's been quite low recently, as we've mentioned over the past few episodes. I believe that most of that has to do with our page, our website being disappeared into the ether. So I know we've got a lot of enthusiastic and generous supporters out there. So please head to canarycrynewstalk.com/support. Otherwise, who knows, Gons? It might be a very dark winter for us this winter. We literally won't be able to keep the lights on.
Yeah, we'll be okay. But, we have other ways people can support the show, even if it's not with your treasure. You can do so with your time and your talent. And we have a few people to thank on that regard. We have Objectivity Cave, who I think is usually in the Twitch chat as well. He sent us a jingle. It's the Great Reset World Economic Forum jingle. Do we want to play the whole minute and a half here?
I think we should. Is it going to be in the mix at the end, the minute and a half?
I did not have it in there for today.
Don't have it set up there.
I don't have it set up.
Play the sample.
Okay, we'll play the sample, and then moving forward, we will add it into the end of the show mix. But here's a little sample of the World Economic Forum song.
Reset this!
I love it.
That was pretty funny. And that was from Objectivity Cave. Who is that in the Twitch? What's his Twitch name?
Something with objectivity. I don't remember the full thing.
Yeah,
chat.
I don't know. Say something in the chat so we can get your name. Reset this. That's exactly what we should be saying to the World Economic Forum.
I know, it's great. Okay, so the other way is with your art.
One art, please.
We got a handful of pieces of art to share with you. The first one is by Ali. And I need to fix the size of this on the screen real quick, but this is
from producer Ali. That's Gazlin Bonds in the Twitch chat there, so thank you very much.
Yes, and this is Monty 4 Tryouts Round 2.
Yes, this is very good. Wow, she's just showing off now. Thank you very much, Allie. For those who are just listening, this is Monty the Fourth tryouts round 2. We got a wonderful round 1 last episode, and here's round 2 with the candidates are Over the Rainbow from the Canary Cry community as a snow leopard. So snow leopard to replace my recently deceased cat. And I think a snow leopard's a pretty viable option. Next, we have a giraffe. Well, it's got the legs of a giraffe. I like how everything is to scale in this thing. So we've got a snow leopard, beautifully done, and then we've got the bottom half of a giraffe next to it. And then lastly, a pangolin. A pangolin. I was talking to my Chinese buddy the other day. He says pangolins are delicious. So maybe I'm just kidding. But those poor pangolins, they are a delicacy, allegedly, in China. But also, very good pangolin. It's kind of like the armadillo you can have that won't give you leprosy. So that's probably a better option.
Yeah, that's probably why she went with it. And one of my favorite, well, it's kind of a dad joke. Mm-hmm. It's an old comedian joke about how it wouldn't be fun to be a giraffe with a sore throat.
Oh, good one, Dad. Good one, Dad.
All right. Thank you, Allie.
Thank you very much, Allie.
Piece of drawing again. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Next up, we have a quote from producer Grace. And she quoted, "King of the apocalypse, building my empire from scratch."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me.
That's you. You said that. Yeah.
Yes. Back when I was stranded in the wastelands of California.
Yes.
Oh man, they were so mean to me, Guns.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. You know what's funny about these? Before we get to the last piece of art here, today's art, for whatever reason, all the producers, it's all black and white. All 3 of the pieces of art that we got today, black and white.
Okay.
No color.
Got a theme.
Yeah, which it's okay because I have a Jesus on a T-Rex blasting out rainbow. So it kind of makes up for the lack of color.
Quite the heretical visage there, Gons, but funny.
Who says it's heretical? Jesus set the rainbow. Come on now. We're taking the rainbow back.
And he made dinosaurs. So
yes.
And he giveth and he taketh away the dinosaurs.
Last but not least, producer Mark with another episode of edition of the New World Order Times Gazette.
This was great.
Yeah. Do you want to read a couple of them? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is another edition of the NWO, the New World Order Times Gazette. What is this? This is from Mark, right?
Yep. Producer Mark.
Yeah, these are great. And as usual, it's the classifieds section. So let's see what's in the classifieds here. We've got lost and found, missing steel monolith with sentimental value, 9.5 feet tall by 2 feet wide. Last seen in the remote. Oh no, I got a blurry version here. Remote area that has Utah desert, Romania. Being carried by Bigfoot, and that's all crossed out. Now, California Hills. $33 reward for any information leading to current location. We got to keep an eye out for that. Oh, shoot. He has to add now, seen being carried away by white racists. Next in the classifieds, in the services section, we've got a custom bidet installation. It will change your life. Never fear toilet paper shortages again. Optional COVID-19 virus eradication module available to avoid fecal surveillance detection. Call 1-800-WET-BOTTOM to schedule your free in-home estimate. I'm going to have to give those guys a call. Next, in the education section, we've got Lucifer's Laughing School. Has openings for the upcoming winter 2021 training session. Past clients include Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, and Hillary Clinton. Don't miss out on this opportunity to learn from the beast cross that out, best. Send email requests to @lls.com. Do you have any of those laughs lined up?
Yes, I can get to them.
Okay, good. As you know, the Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Hillary Clinton all seem to have attended Lucifer's laughing school, as is evidenced by these clips.
There's Bezos, and I gotta give me a moment to pull up the Hillary. It's buried in the files there.
I am vamping. Vamping.
Yeah, can you vamp a little
good
more?
Vamping. I'll read this health and wellness one while we bring it up. This is from Health and Wellness in the Classifieds. Do you find yourself with the urge to make dinosaur sounds? Do you routinely feel the need to hide your face in public? Are you plagued with untimely eructation, aka show burps? Have you recently found yourself completely frozen during podcastings? These are signs that you likely have gout. Dang it! Get relief with our totally artificial remedy, Gout Out. Next, text request for free 30-day sample. Go to 1-800 or 1-888-GOUT-OUT.
Hillary thinks it's funny.
You got me.
Hillary thinks it's funny there.
Oh gosh, that's the scariest one. Oh no. Yeah, very good. So there you go. Thank you very much, producer Mark. And those are your classifieds from the NWO Times Gazette.
Yes,
keep them coming, Mark.
Yeah,
Love
keep it coming. We do want to mention Canary Cry merch perch.
Slow motion.
Step all over the jingle, but okay, it's all right.
Sorry.
We got a note from producer Dust. He is working on the orders. I think he's got to do some batch ordering, and orders were slow, but they will be coming. So
yes,
just hold tight. It's on its way.
Yes, stand down and stand by.
Yes, and do you want to read reviews right now real quick, or do you want to save it?
Yeah, I'll do it real quick.
There's one or two of them, right?
Yeah, I got them. There's just a couple. And Gons, I got to say, for the listeners' sake, we haven't been getting reviews for quite a while. And we got a few, and Gons very sort of sheepishly mentioned that we got a few before the show today. And usually I love reading reviews. Gons, I appreciate your non-enthusiasm about these reviews, because we have some well, let's just get into it. This was a 5-star review. We'll start here. This is a 5-star review from Lizard the Only Liz. Fringe topics without the tinfoil hat. Alternative Christian community. Relevant topics for this strange time we are in. For the face like the sun people, eventually you'll get used to Basil. Basil, I love you, brother. Stop playing it so safe. Not sure what I'm playing. Oh, probably because I don't want to put my image out on the internet. I grew up on the internet. I know what happens when you put your face out there. People Photoshop you into mean videos of being a racist, tearing down monoliths. Next, we've got a 5-star review from For the Remnant. Biblically speaking, Basil and Gons are workers approved by Yahweh. Quote, this is 2 Timothy 2:15 and 16. Remind them of these things and charge them before Yahweh not to quarrel about words, which does no good, but only ruins the hearers. Do your best to present yourself to Yahweh as one approved, a worker who has no need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth, but avoid irreverent babble, for it will lead people into more and more ungodliness. So thank you very much For the Remnant. Yeah. Appreciate that very much. Yeah. Now here's the one, Gons, that I appreciate you hiding from me.
I actually didn't know this one was in. I didn't see this. Yeah,
you didn't see this one? Oh, no. It's okay. I'm used to it. 5 stars. Bun Poopy Face. So you know this is a serious listener here. Gons is 5 stars. How refreshing to hear Gons fly solo on the first ep post-Thanksgiving. It was easy to follow through the stories, and the commentary was thought-provoking and engaging. Love hearing your mini-me in the background. If the only thing Basil contributes is T-Rex noises, interruptions, arguments, and a pretty face, okay, the Wild West accent too, then maybe at least he could show us his pretty face. Gons, you make the show. Get some new tech nerd co-host. So we've got a malcontent, Gons.
Wow.
Yeah, this has to be a face like the sun person is what it must be.
Probably.
And that's okay. I understand. If you're used to the soothing, dulcet tones of Gons, me popping up in the feed can be a bit of a shocker. So that's okay. I'm guessing that this person is over 55 and they hate to laugh. They hate to laugh and they don't like having fun. Not that it's not fun listening to you solo, Gons. It's very fun for me, but that's okay. Bun Poopy Face, thank you very much for the constructive criticism.
Yeah,
I'd like to think I have more to give than T-Rex noises, interruptions, arguments, and a pretty face.
Well, yeah.
Although the pretty face is the main thing. I will admit that.
I just think it's funny that
the sex appeal of these
googly
giant
eyes.
eyeballs.
Yeah, and the helicopter that's hovering over your house right now.
You can hear that?
Oh yeah, I got ears. I got ears, buddy.
It's pretty quiet in here live. It's a quiet helicopter, but okay.
Yeah, my ears are tuned for very detailed things.
You are professional.
But yes, thank you, Bun Poofy Face. Appreciate.
Yes, thank you very much, Bun Poofy Face, for the 5 stars. I'll take the criticism for the 5 stars. Appreciate it.
Excellent. All right.
Okay, those are all the reviews.
Let's get back and run through these last few here.
Let's do it.
It's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, wake up, folks. Last episode, we talked about the CBN, we brought the clip from CBN of the doctor talking about the RFID chip in the thing.
The vaccine.
The vaccine.
The syringe.
Yes, and this was from a long time ago. I hadn't seen this. I had only seen the clip that you played on the show. Mm-hmm. This is from
May
5/22. Yeah, it's from May. So this was an old thing. And wanted to look into it because he was making it sound as if, the vaccine was definitely going to have a chip in it, an RFID chip. And it just sounded too perfect. And of course, right here says a radio frequency identification chip may be attached to the container of individual doses of new coronavirus vaccine. Attached to the container. So this is a common practice in supply chains to have RFID chips on containers, including, especially in the medical industry. Most medical devices have RFID chips just for supply chain tracking. So there you go. This guy was not saying that it was going to implant a chip into your body, which, it may or may not implant a chip into your body. But that is not what this guy was saying. And the reason we bring it up is because this was being used as quote unquote evidence that there was a microchip in the vaccine. So just to clear that up for everybody, we mentioned we were going to look into that, and we did. There you go. Not much else to say about that, Gons.
Obama's right.
This is false.
That's right.
But, well, I will say that it still makes me uncomfortable either way. And how does it measure? And these are questions that you probably don't know, but or answers that you probably don't know. But does it measure if the vaccine itself has been discharged, or does it?
Yeah. So here's a little thing about RFID chips. They're actually they don't really do much.
Yeah, it's just an identifier, right? Like
an RFID chip is really no more than a barcode. It doesn't hold any information. It can't really do anything. You need to be close to it. It basically can do one thing, and it sends it can be detected by an RFID reader. Most things that are sold in stores have RFID chips, or a magnet strip does a similar thing.
Yeah.
They're mainly used for supply chain verification, where you will scan the RFID chip of an item when it leaves a distribution center, and then you scan the RFID chip when it arrives at the store, and that is to make sure that it actually arrives. It has a digital, imprint that it has actually arrived somewhere. RFID chips are actually pretty rudimentary devices, and that's because they've been around for so long. I mean, they've been around for decades. They're not very impressive. Now, there are much cooler things as far as, technology, much more complicated and impressive technology that they could put into vaccines to get done some sort of sinister thing. But RFID chips are relatively innocent. The most they can do is give you a set of numbers when you scan them. But other than that, they're not very impressive.
Does RFID is abbreviation for radio frequency identification, right?
Right. Yeah.
I still don't understand why we make identification a shorter version and call it ID.
Instead of just I?
Instead of just I, because the I stands for identification, or I, and then D stands for dentification.
There must be some sort of occult symbolism there.
It probably is.
There we go.
Yeah. We did have, along those lines with the Mark of the Beast, we did want to bring you this story here because it, part of the issue here when we talk about the Mark of the Beast is, and we're trying to take a very careful approach and not call everything that's coming out there the Mark of the Beast, because the prophecies are pretty specific. There's a lot of characters surrounding and circumstances geopolitically. A lot of stuff happens surrounding the issuing of the Mark of the Beast, and part of the problem, though, is that when you criticize the sort of the fringe narrative that a vaccine is the Mark of the Beast, or the quantum dots are the Mark of the Beast, you are automatically labeled either a shill, or you're just asleep. You're asleep.
Right. It's the act of debunking a Mark of the Beast. I don't know, candidate. We do a lot more debunking Mark of the Beast than we do sort of propagating, candidates of Mark of the Beast. And, I got a couple of messages, very angry messages, bringing my salvation into question, which
that's always
is always fun. It's always, the sign of you're dealing with a real Christian. And, we spend a lot of time debunking marks of the beast, not because we think that the idea of the mark of the beast is wrong or ridiculous or something, but it's so important. It's important enough to not get it wrong.
Yeah.
And, I think most people who listen to this show, and I would say most Christians in general, would respect that. But there are some out there who are just like so jazzed up on one particular thing being the mark of the beast that, you just use scripture to debunk it, and they call you a CIA shill. I mean, I've been a Christian literal entire life, but my entire life has I've been in churches that are constantly calling out what the mark of the beast is, teaching about the end times, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't even know there was a form of Christianity that didn't focus on these end times types of things. It was really wild in my later years to learn that there were Christians who didn't really know much about the book of Revelation. It was just a weird thing. So yes, I've had a lot of experience for a few decades of what isn't the mark of the beast? What are the important aspects of it? What are aspects of it that aren't actually in the Bible, that have sort of just been layered on top of it through Christian culture over the decades, et cetera, et cetera. So we spend a lot of time debunking marks of the beast, just not because, we're down on what the possibilities are. We just take it very seriously, and we're not going to propagate an idea that isn't explicitly backed up by Scripture. So that being said, I do want to bring this article here. And for those who listen, you know this, but if you're new, a lot of what we like to do on the show is explore how Christians are sort of talked about and portrayed and understood from a secular point of view, but also from the point of view within Christianity as well. Yeah. Of course, as everybody knows, there's thousands of different denominations of Christianity, and pretty much, a lot of them think that they're the only one with the truth. And that may be true, may not be true, I don't know. But not only Christianity, but also conspiracy theorists, how, the world views conspiracy theorists. And in this case, how other Christians are viewing conspiracy theorists. And so we can have these conversations. We can understand the thinking of people who may come against us in certain cases. It's just important to have an understanding of, the other side or whatever. So here we go, Gons. Are you ready? There's a lot of rambling.
Yeah, you stepped all over my jingle.
Excuse me, your jingle stepped on me.
No, that doesn't happen on this show. Jingles don't step on anybody.
Take priority. No, they're like a pedestrian in American traffic.
Yeah, you got to watch out for them. You step over them, you pay the price.
All right.
Don't even read their.
I was gonna say I break for jingles, so here I am.
Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Quiet on the set.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sake.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
There we go. We finally got through it.
We got it.
Okay, so this is coming from religionnews.com, which is sort of the most straightforward website I've ever heard of. religionnews.com. Eric Metaxas and the losing of the evangelical mind. Woo. And of course, at the top here, they have a giant picture of a presumably Christian man holding up a Q sign. Although we don't know if it's a Christian man. There's a lot of assumptions. Here we go. Eric Metaxas, the author of biographies of William Wilberforce and Dietrich Bonhoeffer, has proclaimed that Donald Trump won the 2020 election in a landslide. As a result, Metaxas forecasts many will be imprisoned for attempting to steal the election, an attempt that he calls, quote, the most horrible thing that ever happened in the history of our nation. Thankfully, quote, Jesus is with us in this fight. When a reputed evangelical public intellectual exhibits this behavior, it's worth asking about the state of the evangelical mind. Recent proclamations by other evangelical Christians suggest a propensity to believe conspiracy theories on the origins of COVID-19, nefarious purposes underlying the coming vaccines, the climate change hoax, and Tom Hanks leading a global pedophile ring. Again, a mischaracterization of Pizzagate. Nobody thinks Tom Hanks is leading a global pedophile ring, but that's besides the point. How should Christians committed to thoughtful cultural engagement respond? Is that us, Gons?
I think we
think we're
I would
committed
consider
to
ourselves
thoughtful cultural engagement.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so this is written to us. Okay, let's just take it from there.
Okay.
When QAnon followers populate our church pews, how do we avoid losing hope for the Christian principle of integrating faith and reason? I'm not sure what those two things have to do with Q, but okay. Evangelicals' complicated relationship with conspiracy theories is probably not reducible to a single explanation. Oh, that's a really insightful thing to say. I think you're right. But he says. Ah, nuts. But reasons suggest themselves. No, they don't.
What?
Reasons are not conscious beings. I think what you meant to say, you suggest some reasons. A generation of evangelicals has been influenced by the wildly popular Left Behind series. Guilty. End times novels that used news headlines to fantasize about shady global networks. Yeah, sure. Conspiracy theories may appeal to white evangelicals as a way to make sense of a country that is less like them. Well, okay. Conspiracy theories appeal to non-white evangelicals as well, but let's make sure to bring race into this. Well, let's see. Let me read that again. Conspiracy theories may appeal to white evangelicals as a way to make sense of a country that is less like them, less white, less rural, less old, and less socially conservative. Wow, making a lot of logical leaps there, author, but okay. In any event, we cannot wait for the sociologists to sort out the root causes before responding to our fellow congregants who have begun the waving Q signs, literally or figuratively. A few basic truths should underlie any strategy. So right here, Gons, I don't know, you just tell me when you want to jump in,
okay.
But right here is where it starts getting squirrely. Well, continues to get squirrely.
Yep.
He says we cannot wait for sociologists to sort out the root causes before responding. Okay, so is that what this guy does? He waits for sociologists to tell him how to respond to fellow Christians?
Well, I will
that's
say
what he's implying here.
Yeah, and he's in good company because I fell a few units short, but I did study sociology in college. That was my major. So there you go. I can give you some insight there, guy.
There you go. Okay, we've got an almost sociologist on our hands. But there you go. So apparently this guy waits for soft science sociologists.
Social science.
It's a soft science.
I know.
Sociology is not a hard science.
No,
but okay.
I understand that.
So we cannot wait for sociologists to tell us how to think about our fellow Christians. First, this will not be a quick fix. Trump's I just can't comment after everything. So Trump's willingness to entertain conspiracy theories may have contributed to his supporters' eagerness to do the same. But this problem will not end with the Trump presidency. No kidding. Maybe
it didn't start with it either.
Yeah. Thank you. This problem won't go away when Trump goes away. No kidding, because it was here. People believed in conspiracy theories way before Trump ever came around. Critical discernment is not a light switch to be turned on and off at will. It's a discipline to be cultivated. Christians who want to pull their fellow believers back from the conspiratorial worldview need to commit for the long haul. Uh-oh. I wonder if there's somebody committing to the long haul to bring us back, Gons. Second, thoughtful Christians need to avoid categorical dismissals of mainstream media sources. Oh, okay. And now we're getting into it. So if you're a thoughtful Christian, you need to believe mainstream narratives, is what he's saying.
Or at least don't categorically dismiss them.
Sure. Well, I think, yeah, I think that makes sense. Categorically dismissing that's okay. You should bring critical thinking to everything that you read.
Including
this
guy.
But notice how his thoughtful Christians, see, we would consider ourselves thoughtful Christians. Would you say?
Sure. Yeah. We're trying to bring
other
thought.
People consider us thoughtful Christians as well.
I hope so. But,
okay.
I mean, we do come off as fringy, maybe on first appearance, but certainly
you can be fringy and thoughtful. I would say fringy people are thoughtful. I think that's their main quality. You don't become fringy because you're not thoughtful.
I guess fringy from the normie view is a little bit edgier, and that would they imply, like this guy, they would imply that they are not thoughtful.
Yes.
Approaching these types of discussions, but go on.
So what he's saying is thoughtful Christians listen to the mainstream news for the most part. Anyways, do many media organizations exhibit a liberal bias? Yes, but there's a difference between bias and an intent to promulgate lies instead of facts. So he's making an assumption that mainstream news does not have an intent to promulgate lies instead of facts. Although I think recent recordings being released by the executives of CNN would make that mean that CNN has an intent to promulgate lies instead of facts. I'm just going from the recordings. That's not conspiracy theory anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Attacks on reporters as the enemy of the people. That was never a thing. It was all about fake news as the enemy of the people. But okay, if you want to keep promulgating your mainstream.
Which, by the way, yeah, he doesn't follow his own standard here.
Yeah.
But he literally just says how, they don't promulgate lies. There's no intent to promulgate lies. And then he peddles a lie right after the next sentence. He literally misconstrues the reality, the truth, with a narrative that the mainstream picked up about this whole thing and how fake news is the enemy of the people, not the reporters.
Right.
But
attacks on reporters as the enemy of the people and sweeping pronouncements of fake news from high places have led many conservative Christians to replace traditional media sources altogether with YouTube videos and Facebook memes. I can't quite argue with that, but okay. We have rejected potentially biased sources in favor of sources that lack any quality control or editorial process.
Oh,
I take offense at that, Gons.
Oh, come on. Come on, guy.
They certainly can't be talking about us. We have quality control and an editorial process.
Yeah, we always tell people.
Look it up.
Look it up. Yeah. No, see, if you do your own research, if you find your own, if you look at the study instead of having Wolf Blitzer read it to you, that's not being very thoughtful. I was trying so hard to think of a news announcer, and all I could think of was Wolf Blitzer.
The wolf.
Both. This is not a path forward towards accurate understanding of reality. So, just to reiterate, he's saying, don't question reporters, don't call anything fake news, or don't call the mainstream fake news, don't watch YouTube videos, don't get it from Facebook memes, which I think we can all agree, don't get your news from Facebook memes.
Yeah.
We have rejected potentially biased sources in favor of sources that lack any quality control or editorial process. So yes, he's saying don't do any of those things. You need a more accurate understanding of reality. Just open up. Choo choo. Let the mainstream feed it to you. Third, we need to reclaim God's actual promises. This gets wacky. Conspiracy theories are attractive because they help us feel in control. I will disagree with you, sir. I don't think anybody will say that conspiracy theories make you feel in control. If anything, knowing about how things are really going on makes me feel more out of control than ever.
Yeah. Well, at least in terms of how the world is constructed around us, we have less control. That's part of understanding these theories, is learning that in the worldly sense, we don't have the kind of influence on things that are constructed out there. That we have maybe better understanding, but certainly not control.
Would you say that we and our listeners, when we learn about conspiracy theories, it makes us realize we have less control and God has more control?
Amen.
I think that's kind of what I walk away from every one of our shows with.
Yeah, that's really the point. It's and we need to reclaim God's actual promises. That is sort of, especially for Christian conspiracy theorists, that's sort of the big thing, is that, hey, yeah, there's all this dark stuff going on, but the whole concept of the gospel, or not the concept, but the gospel shines brighter in the darkness.
Exactly.
The darker you understand reality is, the brighter the gospel shines. And so I reclaim it. No, that's kind of the main driving force of exposing the enemy, like Ephesians 5:11 talks about. So anyway.
Exactly. And I think this next sentence shows a lot about this guy's theology.
Okay.
Rather than face a randomly occurring virus that is wreaking havoc on our lives, we see a grand battle against the forces of evil. So what he is saying is that he believes that the coronavirus is a randomly occurring virus. And there's no battle against the forces of evil. So
this guy has not done any homework. There's like documented evidence.
No, he's done his homework. He's watched CNN.
Oh, okay. I don't know how much more I can take of this.
I know.
And we're running out of time too, so we gotta hurry.
I'm gonna go fast.
Okay.
I'm not gonna stop after. It's just hard because every single sentence this guy says shows a complete misunderstanding of conspiracy. I'll just say fringy type Christians, and it shows that he has an entirely mainstream bias where he just wants to fit in. He just wants to fit in with the world. He wants the world to think that he's just like them and just is a nice guy. Anyways, and smart and doesn't believe anything that CNN doesn't tell him. Feeling in control of what's happening in the world was never amongst God's promises. I think we can all agree there. Instead, he promises us himself, which should be all of the assurance we need, even when the world feels completely out of control. Agreed. He has a total misunderstanding of fringy Christians. Fourth, we have to recognize the true stakes when the world sees Christians as gullible, naive, and unwilling to do the hard work of critically evaluating information. We lose credibility on everything. I think by itself, that sentence stands correct, including our assertions about the historical veracity of the Bible. When we post a meme about Dr. Anthony Fauci or Bill Gates plotting to distribute the mark of the beast through a vaccine, our following post about eyewitness testimony regarding the life of Jesus will get the same response as the first. This person is not trustworthy on questions that matter. Okay. I know.
Okay.
We're just going to move on.
Wait. I don't want to move on because.
Okay. I thought that was you saying move on.
No. No, because he mentions Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates. This is the key point here because, first off, there are clips like this.
We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
And we have Dr. Fauci.
Now is the time to do what you're told.
These are concerning regardless of your faith, really.
Yeah, definitely.
And sure, we're not, I mean, for you and I, we're not saying this is the mark of the beast that they're throwing out there, but we're also not saying that these things are just trust them because it's not the mark of the beast. Therefore, it's fine. It's fine. It's all in the up and up. And that's part of the problem here and why we got to, we always talk about the narrow path of truth here, but really that's the point because this guy and a lot of people that are in the mainstream commenting about these things, they're not able to see the nuance here. They're not able to say, okay, there's some concern here.
They don't want to.
I guess they don't want to because there's no, I don't know, there's no clicks and nuance apparently as we know from our 400 viewers right now, which is still a lot. I really appreciate everybody watching. But, the streams that suggest that they know for a fact what the mark of the beast is, you're going to get a lot more clicks. You're going to get a lot more views. And, I guess some folks care more about that than trying to actually be responsible with what they talk about in terms of the news.
Well, I think what you're bringing up is a good point, which is I think that people... this guy is describing someone. I think someone is kind of like what he's saying.
Oh, yeah,
but
there's a lot.
Certainly not even near a majority. I mean, is a drastic minority, at least in my experience, of the fringy type folk. Now, maybe we're just lucky and we attract the critical thinking people. We always, the problem with us is we deal with a lot of nuance and subtlety and we don't jump on a lot of alarmism bandwagons. I mean, not that we never do that, but we try not to. We try to be critical about the things that we jump into. And so he may be describing a certain population. I think this certain population is significantly smaller than he's than he's letting on.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get out there. Let's keep moving. But yeah. And also, he said something about the eyewitness testimony regarding the life of Jesus, as if like, I don't know, we're time traveling and witnessing the life of Jesus, or is he? Oh, we're talking about the current divine life of Jesus, maybe. Anyways, moving on. Our minds are a gift from God. Like all good gifts, we are called to steward them wisely. As conspiracy theories infiltrate the church and compromise its witness, we can't just roll our eyes as though we're accommodating an embarrassing uncle who drops by for a holiday dinners. The gospel speaks to the heart and the mind. If wild conspiracy theories find fertile ground amongst Christians, we shouldn't just be scandalized. We should be motivated to reclaim the intellectual rigor of our faith. I would say that some of the people we deal with, Gons, have much more intellectual rigor than the normal sort of wishy-washy Christian that just wants the world to like them and not think that they're crazy. Yeah. So anyways, there you go. That is from who even wrote this? This was an opinion piece from Robert K. Vischer. He's the dean of the University of St. Thomas Law School in Minneapolis, and the views expressed in his commentary do not necessarily reflect those of the University or Religion News Service. So there you go. Robert K. Vischer.
Yep.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. Well, I think we got a wrap because we have our guest waiting. So
yeah. Well, let's talk about that now.
Okay.
So we have right after this, we are going to do a Canary Cry radio episode. For those who don't know, we have another show called Canary Cry Radio, which is more of an interview style show with lots of very smart people, people with intellectual rigor. And today we will be having an interview with Jay Dyer. And Gons, tell us about him.
Well, this is actually going to be more of a discussion, not so much an interview.
Ah, okay.
Because the topic of Bitcoin has been making the rounds a lot recently with just the price going up and everything. So we thought it was a good idea to jump on and actually stream and talk about it. And so we will be doing that with Jay Dyer. We're going to do Fiat on Fire, Bible, Bitcoin in the Bunker. And we'll discuss Bitcoin, the pros, the cons, the concerns. We'll try to address some of that. And it'll just be an open discussion between myself, Basil, and Jay Dyer. And so he's waiting in the wings here. So we got to wrap it up, and I got to take a potty break before we keep going. So we got to really wrap this up.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. We will finish up the show here. We'll end the stream, but don't go anywhere because we got another great, hour and a half or so after this. But thank you so much for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk.
Before we go, Dento Bean, no, it's not behind a paywall. We're just going to end this stream. We're going to start a new stream, so we'll be live.
Oh, yeah, no, it'll just be right here. Just don't move. Don't go anywhere.
Well, you might have to go. We're going to end this stream, so it'll be a different video, technically. But
oh, my gosh.
Am I being too technical?
No, you're fine.
Click on next video.
Okay, so you're going to want to go up to your Tools tab. Our next show is on Monday, which is December 7th, sometime between noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'll be the next Canary Cry News Talk show, so make sure to tune in on Monday. A big old thanks to our one financial producer. That's Carter O. Thank you for saving our skins. But also, thank you to Objectivity Cave. Thank you to Allie, Grace, and Mark for the artwork. And thank you, dear listener, for being here for today's show. Now, here's the thing, folks. You can still become a producer of Canary Cry News Talk. Head to canarycrynewstalk.com/support. Please, please, please consider becoming a producer. It is a rebellion. It is an extreme rebellion against the theology of this world where advertising rules. Not here, baby. No corporate money, no advertising, no brand safety. So watch out, brands. We're coming for you. But you can also head to patreon.com/CCNT. And for those of you who come on, be producers, we'll be thanking you in the next show. So make sure to do that. Thank you to everybody who left reviews. If you haven't done it yet, go leave a review. It's about time somebody leave a review about just how awesome I am. I just need to pick me up after this last one. But I thank him anyways for his 5 stars. You can do that lots of different ways. Apparently, the way that I've been telling people does not work anymore. So if you're on iTunes, if you're listening on your phone, on Apple Podcasts, go onto your phone, leave a rating and a review. It really helps the algorithms, share the show with more people. If you're viewing on YouTube, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Very, very important that you do that. I know it seems silly, but it is an easy way to help out the show. And you can always send your art, your jingles, your anything, any creative project that you do, make it related to the show and send that to canarycryradio@gmail.com. You'll make it on next show. It'll be fun. It'll be great. Thank you to our artists and our musicians. And lastly, share the show. Just pick an episode. Maybe it's this episode. Maybe it's a different episode. And post it on your socials. Send it straight to somebody who needs it. Y'all got friends and family who are waking up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. We would love to be a part of that journey of theirs. So just hit that little share button. Send it to a friend or family member. That also helps the show, but it also helps your friends or family members. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them. You grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. All right, everybody. We are going to be starting our conversation with Jade Dyer regarding what is the whole title, Gons?
It's called Fiat on Fire, Bible, Bitcoin in the Bunker.
Ooh, Fiat on Fire, Bible, Bitcoin in the bunker. Okay, folks, make sure to stick around for that. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast feed on your favorite podcast player, not just to Canary Cry News Talk, but also to Canary Cry Radio. All just so many hours of things for you to listen to. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't thank the guy with the Spotify thing.
Oh, yeah. We'll save it for the next one.
What is that guy's name? Okay, we'll save it for next time. That was fun. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, we'll be back on December 7th. That's Monday, sometime between noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Put it on your calendar. Turn on notifications. And one more time, Gons, any last words?
Nope. That's it. Okay. Thank you for listening, watching.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Canaries in a cage. Look it up.
Called it.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. my people's zoo.